not following the lead. They're seeing it, but they're not going. What if you did the opposite?
Shall we begin?
Yeah. Let's begin now.
Okay. And
Start.
podcast.
Okay. Fuck.
I feel like this happens every time, right? We're just like, wait.
Yeah.
I think it's because we never really established, like, how do we start?
Yeah. I mean, if there's no plan that we have, and then we say start, then start implies plan.
Yeah. Especially the last 3 episodes have started exactly like this. We just
Yeah.
hit record and we're just like,
I'm choking. Fuck. I think what we usually do though is, oh well, what should we do? We're stuck, and then we're like, oh well, before the thing we were talking about, this and that.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets us rolling.
And the first handful of episodes, we started in an interesting way, which was we would just be having a conversation, and then at some point we would decide, oh, okay, this is where we'll cut in, and this will be the podcast. But we would just be talking, and then we didn't even have a defined start point.
Yeah, which is
Which is a philosophy for life.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So what we can just launch into. Oh, well, one of the things I was saying is like, I think we've been mentioning this a couple of times on the podcast recently, but I don't know. I'm just like happy with how this is going. Like we started this trying to not have expectations and then trying to be like, yeah, let's just do something that we enjoy doing. And I think in the back of our minds, we were like, all right, clearly this is going to catch on like wildfire.
Clearly.
The internet's going to be buzzing about it. Hey, like I'm mostly joking, but and it didn't happen. And dude, I thought one of your emails recently was so well said. It's like you work on something, you're so excited about something, and then you let it off into the wild expecting a big fanfare, and you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And nobody gives a fuck.
It's like going into the launch of anything is so scary, and we can get into like the thing I just launched too, because I like, you know, when you're going into a launch of something, it's like you have all these expectations, and after you go through a handful of them, it's like the reality of it, and anything really is, it's most likely going to wildly exceed your expectations or wildly like just crush your expectations on the downside.
Right.
And you know, we're rarely accurate. Right.
Almost never.
Yeah. So I mean, with this, I mean, I think, you know, we like full, you know, honesty and stuff. I think we knew this was a passion project. We knew it was something we wanted to do for us, but at the same time, I did probably think there'd be a bit more attention to it, just based on like, and it taught me something about my audience. It taught me that just because I have an audience doesn't mean they're going to necessarily lap up everything I ever do. You know, like just because you have an audience doesn't mean they care about, you know, anything other than what they really like opted in for, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's one thing for somebody to watch, for example, an Amazon video, but then this podcast is sort of a totally different thing. And it's kind of like the 1,000 true fans versus like, you know, whatever millions of people might be aware of your business or yourself or whatever. And, you know, I think it just showed me like, oh, like, you know, this is only a very small subset. And like we talked about, I think on the last episode, is it's like, it's my favorite little subset, because it's like the people that listen to this, it's like, oh, you're deep. Like you've really like gone into the depths. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm trying to think about it in reverse. I wonder if, so we're saying somebody that found you through the Amazon video might not have gone and then listened to this podcast, but in reverse, it's like, well, somebody that listened to this podcast, and then if you were to launch something, say, more specific than the podcast, such as like a business project or another project, I have a feeling that maybe it would be more likely to overlap.
Yeah, you had a good insight about this too, because you know I did start the newsletter lately, and I've been having so much fun with it. And I appreciate your responses too. I think I might have forgot to reply to you. Replied this week, I think, and I read it, but or maybe it was last week, but I might have forgot to reply to you. But I really appreciated it.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. I feel like so honored to know the person that's writing it. It's like it's so delightful. Like for all the times that your friends share creative work with you, and you say, "What do you think about it?" Like, I mean, I'm always honest, and I try to be as honest as I can with friends, but it's so enjoyable to be able to every time just be like, I love it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, and to be honest, I've been like, you know, just writing them kind of the night before the last several, but like then by the end I'm I'll be honest, it almost impresses myself a little bit that I'm just like, wow, I just knocked this out like in, a little bit, just like the night before. It reminds me of like a school assignment, when you're like the night before you're trying to finish that essay. It's like 3 a.m. and you haven't even wrote like a word, and then somehow as the sun is creeping up, you realize that you have this like freaking great paper.
Yeah,
at least that was me in school.
Yeah, man, what you've done with giving yourself accountability is so powerful with it. And shit, maybe, yeah, even now just thinking about it, like I do have a lot of stuff that I'm trying to do, but I would like to do something like that, whether it's that style or an email newsletter, just having the accountability of having to send it every week.
Dude, you really should. And you have it too. I mean, anytime you write anything, like today you linked me your "my stuff is for sale" blog post, and like even that I was just like so intrigued to just read. Like it shows the way you think about things, you know what I mean? It was weirdly interesting. I've never had somebody link me a post, like a blog post about like things in their apartment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I was interesting. I really didn't expect that. I am just like selling my stuff before moving next Monday, and I was gonna do a Google Doc, but I just figured that this blog software I have, you can upload a gallery of images instead of, and it actually displays the images one by one, but it's just easier to upload. So I just decided last minute to upload it to my blog, which probably has some marketing value to have it at sams.blog instead of docs.google.
Yeah. I mean, that's a silly example, but I just thought it said something about the way you kind of organize your thoughts and the way you write. And it was cool. And I think you should do something like I would be pumped to read it. And I'm not pumped about all the emails in my inbox necessarily. Right. But no, to circle back, you said about like the overlap from, say, people, like if somebody say found this podcast and then got into our other stuff, that would be really interesting. And I don't suspect that's happening right now, but you gave me a piece of advice that is something that I haven't done yet, but it is something I'm thinking about, is with the newsletter, why I brought that up. You were saying, maybe it's not just how do I say get people from my other audiences onto the newsletter, but how do you grow a newsletter, right? And then maybe like you figure out a way for the newsletter to be shared, and then that feeds the other content. Flip the whole thing upside down. And I thought that was really good advice because similar to this podcast, I think the people that are reading and consuming and replying and really like digesting the newsletters are like, they're a certain subset of my audience that is particularly exciting to me. So, nurturing that and growing that is like the most exciting. I mean, and it's not a huge, I mean, it's a relatively small list, but it's like, I love getting replies to that, and it's just really fun. And it's like a lot of it, like you said too, the podcast even is, a lot of it is my friends, and they're reading and they're like really consuming it, which is super cool.
For sure. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just something that's closer. His closer home for us is like more representative of our passions. It's more vulnerable. So I think by nature, it means a lot more when people, and it's like a long thing. So like when people are willing to, or interested to consume it, it feels really great.
Exactly. And like we talked a lot on the last podcast about like, how I've been trying to do that on YouTube, and that's hard because it's like, then you're like transitioning what people are expecting from you, and it's tricky, but I still think
YouTube is also less intimate than podcasts.
True, though I think it's still much more intimate than pretty much most platforms.
Yeah.
Except in a weird way, the email feels very intimate, which I think usually emails are not, but I feel like you can create that space in an email, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is like, I'm not trying to just bombard people with that email. It's meant to be like, I'm hoping people like really kind of sit with it for a few minutes and read it,
Yeah. Well, what's special about podcasts and email is that if you send the content out there and people opt to get it, then it sort of goes directly to them compared to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, where you don't send it to the person, you send it to the company, and the company says, well, if we decide that it's algorithm worthy, then the person's going to see it. So I think there's just a lot more natural anxiety and like fear, whatever you want to call it, built into the other model.
Totally. I loved the algorithm talk on the last episode. We talked a lot about that stuff because it's like you're a slave to the algorithm. The algorithm determines your success, and that's exactly true. Like it's wild to think I've had almost 25,000 people click the subscribe button on my channel, and like I struggle to reach 5% of them, and that's like it's a little weird for sure, right?
Yeah.
Like my average video gets like 5% of that.
I wonder, just a random thought, I wonder what you think of it. A lot of people will say, look, if you like the video, click the subscribe button. What if it was more like, if you like the video, do not click the subscribe button. If you loved the video, click the subscribe button. I wonder how that would affect the algorithms long term. If like a bigger percentage of your followers were like more, I don't know.
It's kind of like when people try to optimize for like open rates in an email. It's like, is it better to have a larger list with a lower open rate but the same amount of overall opens? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like I don't know. Especially on YouTube, I think just the way it works, it's probably best to just have the most chances kind of. But yeah, I get what you mean for sure. Definitely the more you could have engaged audience is key. Like, that's what Graham Stephan does incredibly. I mean, he just, his, even when he had like the amount of subscribers that I have or less, there was like a war in his comments to try to be the first comment. You know what I mean? Like he just had that, like he had that hype in the comments, and that's super key, I think, just for engagement and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, on this topic, kind of like what got us thinking about this was just, this week we got a handful of people that were like reaching out, and it just felt like it was so cool. That's kind of what we're trying to say here.
Yeah. Everyone I think Matt got mostly comments, and then every once in a while someone I know, like shout out Seth, will hit me up, and Matt, you like forwarded me a few comments, and thank you guys for the comments. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and they were just like it was just so cool, like to I don't know what else to say. It was just awesome. It was just love. Like they were great comments. Like it wasn't just like, hey, listen to the podcast. It was like, no, it was like we really hear everything we're saying, and it's so cool to know that other people are thinking what we're thinking and stuff like that. And it was just cool to know, like, whoa, it's not just us here on the mics. Because to circle back to the very beginning of this, when we started this, it was like, yes, it's for us. We thought we'll get an audience, but then for a while it was like, okay, it kind of does feel like it's just for us. And then all of a sudden last week we're like, whoa, wait, we're not here alone.
Yeah.
Like even right now I'm like, oh right, people might listen to this. Whereas I had like almost forgot that. I think we had got so used to just like, it's just me and you.
Yeah, which is probably like we
should probably forget it.
Yeah, exactly. It probably almost makes it better. But no, it's, I guess like we're thinking about this because it's a little bit the end of a chapter where next Monday, it's Wednesday today, next Monday I'm gonna leave LA, head towards Austin.
Hopefully towards Austin and reach Austin.
It'll be, I have like a few weeks in between, so like I'll be in Vegas for a few days.
Got it. I was like making a stupid joke about just like the way you phrased it, but you actually meant it.
I wasn't sure how much detail, so I'm gonna get in my car, I'm gonna push the start button.
Is it a key or is it a button?
It's a key that connects to a button wirelessly. So third option.
Now I'm very confused. But so you're like stopping places on the way. That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm staying in Outsite, which is this like shared housing for digital nomads. And it just like wasn't available until January 3rd. So I'm leaving, I think, on the 16th of December, and then I'll get like I'll be in Vegas for like December 23rd for a few nights, and then I'll head down there. But I'm just gonna, my first priority is just to like sell my stuff and get in the car.
Yeah, so if you're looking at a desk and you're in the LA area, go to sams.blog
/sell-my-buy-my-stuff. I think that's what it is.
/UTM equals.
And then put ! source equals podcast referral, just so I'm able to track that and adapt my marketing.
And use code TFSR at checkout to save 25%.
for sure. I'll add that code in.
Oh my god.
But
the end of an era a bit, but this is not, don't unsubscribe just yet, because we are keeping it going. It's just it's a bit of an end of an end of a chapter, but we're keeping it going.
Chapter's a better term. Yeah, we'll keep it going. I mean, I love doing it. It's like one time you said like it's just the right amount of pressure, and I mean, it's great like to have like it's weird, like what is it, accountability, to have long conversations with a friend is so powerful, and like we learn from it. So we'll still do it, whether we do it over Skype sometimes or in person sometimes. We were saying like minimum we'll do it 3 or 4 times in person a year. I think like it's reasonable to think we might even hit 6 or more, but
that's kind of where we think it's going to go. Is, you know, I'm going to go back and forth to, I mean, I love Austin, so I'm sure I'll be there at least a couple times a year, and I'm sure you'll be popping back to LA. So anytime, you know, we'll still do it in this way. And then in between, if there's a long stretch where that's not happening, we're definitely going to give Skype a try. You know, that'll be a bit of an experiment, you know, see how the vibe goes, see if we can get kind of the same space. But I think it'll still be worth doing in that way. But I mean, I think a solid handful of times a year in person is still going to be the plan. So not really a huge change, to be honest.
For sure. Yeah. And I guess circle back quick to the newsletter thing. I think like, it is like, I don't know, like we do this every so often, and it's like, it's great to have it spontaneous, but when that is something more like scheduled and you have that accountability, and, I think that's really powerful. And, so I guess what I'm thinking is how do you get that accountability as an entrepreneur? And I think that's something I've struggled with a lot.
Me too. Yeah, no. Yeah. And I think you're onto something here, because now with the newsletter, I feel like, oh shit, I have to do it. Whereas usually I'm just like, but at the same time, like I don't want it to be such a pressure. Like,
right.
Look, there will be a week that I miss, you know, like I'm just like, I'm not going to be like, I am never going to miss a week. Like I don't, maybe that is, I'm curious your thoughts, but for me, like, I don't know. I don't want it to be too much pressure, but I also think like, you know, you have to have the right amount of, you know, actually having this rigid structure at the same time, but not too much.
For sure. Something that I'm thinking of, and this kind of ties into the Aubrey Marcus mastermind a bit, is I think that a lot of times what makes things easier for me to make progress on these things is a community. So whether that's, I mean, even the email newsletter is a type of community where people are relying on you other than just yourself for these things. And when you like, so you've made a commitment to these people. And I think that when there's systems in place where you're reliant to other people, it helps with that. So
totally. I think you should do it with writing. Like you should just commit like right now on this podcast.
Commit right now. So what would that be, like a newsletter every week?
I think it should be whatever you feel is the right cadence and the right format.
Okay.
But I mean, I was going to say you're a great writer, which you are, but I think writing is just thinking, right? So I think that's more what it is, you know, like I said, if I'm that interested in reading it, I'm sure other people are too.
Okay.
So weekly, bi-weekly, you know, 1 week, then 2 weeks, then 1 week, then 2 weeks. I don't know, like find something.
I'm thinking, should I just commit to it? Yeah, I might.
I mean, you don't have. I don't mean to like put you on the spot.
I
right?
appreciate you putting me on the spot. Yeah. Let me just think. Should I? Yeah, I'll commit to doing. I'll do at least 6 of them. Kind of like the. I think Tim Ferriss said something like that.
Yeah, and I just hit 6 on mine, by the way, which is interesting that it's at that point.
Yeah, I'll set that up. I'll commit to doing that.
So weekly.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you thinking, like just any type of writing or like a format? Because that's something, and I'm asking because that's something I'm still working through. You know, like I almost fell into this format, like ripping off basically the 5 Bullet Friday, like almost unintentionally and accidentally in a way, because I wanted it to be that, but also like mixing in other forms of writing, and I haven't done that yet. So I feel like I'm almost now it's like, oh, am I creating that framework where that's what people expect? But so I'm curious for you, like, are you thinking of sort of doing like the format I've been doing lately, or maybe just any like a thought piece once a week, or what do you think?
I think at minimum it'll be a few thoughts. Who knows how long it'll be, how short it'll be. I mean, like if I want to, I'll just write a paragraph or kind of like what's on my mind, because there's always something on my mind. So I figured that'll be just, but I don't want to think too far about what the actual content is going to be, because I certainly might.
I mean, more structure. I guess more structure than substance is what I'm thinking.
I'll do it every week, and I don't know if it's bad to just have it completely freeform. I just can't really think of. I do like your style and that style, and maybe I will try that. I'm just wondering, like, well, what if there's not enough topics that I have to fill it?
Well, it doesn't have to be 5. I mean, I don't think. I never said mine was 5. I mean, Tim is obviously doing 5 Bullet Friday.
I don't think he even always does. Or does he always do 5?
I think he always does 5.
Okay.
But like, for example, I think it was last week, or maybe even the last 2 weeks in a row, that I did like 4. Like, it's not structured. So it's more just like, oh, I think if you have a lot to say about one topic, you just stretch it out. And, and not to make this all about just like ripping off Tim's format, but, his is 5 bullets. And I think for even mine already, like might have been like paragraphs, like some are longer, some are shorter. So, if I go long, then I don't want it to be too long and do like 5. So maybe it'll just be one thing sometimes, like I definitely think there have been emails already where it could have just been one thing. Like the one that resonated with a lot of people in this last one was like the thing about money. Whatever, but that one got like a particularly decent amount of attention. Like that probably could have just been the email, just the one thing as that, you know what I mean? Like it creates a different format by being like, here's 4 different things in this email versus just like, hey, I'm emailing you about this. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. But
you should do it. So
I will.
Can you put it at that same link or
sams.blog?
Yeah, it'll be there.
It'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
/ anything, or just you'll find it if you just go there.
You can just do sams.blog, and on the homepage,
sweet,
there'll be, I'll figure out a way to put it on the homepage.
I love the domain, by the way.
Yeah, I like it. Even when I text people, it says sams.blog, and it's like symmetric on both sides.
Oh,
number
4
of
and
letters.
4, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Damn, if only I could get matt.blog. I checked, but it was taken. I checked after I found out that you did that. I was like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone, mine's at mattloberstein.com. If anyone listening is not on it yet, but I'm definitely going to be, I found like on your site, when you made that last article about the AirPods, I like found like an email sign up like at the bottom or something.
Yeah.
So I might technically already be on your email list.
you
okay, sweet.
You're the only one.
Yes. Well, that'll be my claim to fame when this is like a 1 million person email list, is that I was literally number 1
first.
You saw it come through. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, then I'll be waiting. What do you? And I'm not just asking to like, I don't know, like, get into too specifics. I just wonder how you think about this. Like, are you going to set a specific day, or?
Yeah, I think having a day, it's impossible to do it weekly if you don't pick a day, I think.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. So I think Fridays make sense.
Yeah.
Seems to be like, if it's like a reflective email, Friday seems to be.
Yeah, I think
compared to if it's like a productive email, then Mondays.
Totally. I think Tim Ferriss really did nail it with that, and that's my first one I actually sent on a Saturday, and then I think like you replied something about like how awesome it was that it was on Friday, and I was like, oops, like I guess I should just send it on Friday.
Wait, why did I think it was sent on a Friday?
I think it was because like for some reason you didn't get it the first time.
Okay.
So yeah, but I actually did do the very first one on Saturday, and then I switched to Friday since then.
Okay.
But I think Friday is good. I think it does make sense.
Yeah.
But,
agreed.
Yeah.
You wake up on Friday, people are like more just, of all the days in the week, Friday is the chillest for sure.
True. Something that really is interesting looking at the email too is like, I'm really surprised how many people open it like really quickly, which is interesting. I would have thought more people would open it like, I don't know, the next day or like that night or something. But like probably like half the amount of opens it ends up getting are in the first like 30 to 60 minutes.
Huh.
Seems a little surprising.
Yeah, half. I don't.
I mean,
really
that's a made up metric, but like, but I'll just like look at it and I'm like, whoa, like a bunch of people just opened it like 5 minutes after I sent it, which is really cool. But I guess, I mean, you're probably similar to me where like I have pretty much every notification turned off, you know, on my phone. Like there's basically zero chance of me opening an email immediately when I get it.
Right.
But that's what's surprising to me is like how many people will open it in the first like even minute or 2 minutes. Wow. Which is interesting. And I don't mean that
as
to, like,
if they're constantly refreshing their phone on Friday
or like
morning,
they literally get the banner and tap it or something when the email comes in. I guess. I mean, I can only assume, but I mean, for me, I don't have that turned on, so I see an email when I decide to finally click on my mail icon. And
for
like,
sure.
Yeah. But are you inbox 0 or are you?
I'm inbox 50,000. Thousands and
okay.
thousands and
same.
thousands.
I'm like inbox 50,000 or some shit.
Honestly, all right. Get ready, world, for this opinion. I think inbox 0 is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, you literally have a searchable archive of your entire history, and you're gonna be like, nope. Like, I use my inbox as my Google.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's a good point. I guess inbox 0 is about literally like deleting, right?
Yeah, like why? I understand that it probably clears some anxiety.
I think so. Yeah, I get that benefit, but like
I'm searching all the time, like for documents, for like.
Yeah, I never thought about that part of it, and I assume they're probably like archiving them somewhere so that they still have that capability. Maybe. I guess I think it's more about just like, you know, how do you get everything read, maybe like. You know, control the flow as it comes in. But to me, it just seems like, I think it's great. I mean, I think something I put in a video maybe a month or two ago was about, you know, controlling that inflow, like something I did for a while, and I almost made it a habit where now I'm still doing it, is anytime an email from a list, like a, you know, not just a personal email, but like a list email comes in, basically like at that moment, I try to just make the decision to unsubscribe or not. So it like cuts it off at the source. Like I'm not worrying about the 1,000 unread emails that this person has already sent me that I've ignored.
Right.
But at least now I'm like controlled that I've decided I'm not going to get this one again. So
feels
I mean,
good.
Yeah, I've tried to be in that habit, and now I feel like at least what's coming in, I can at least glance at, but I won't open. Like that's one thing. Like I was just talking to somebody and like. I don't even know. It might have even been like my mom, and I was like, "Why would you bother doing that?" It was like every single email, like she'll make sure to like read it and delete it or something, and I'm just like, it just doesn't. It was something like that. I forget the exact process she was doing, but I was like, for me, it's just I'd rather just ignore it if it's not relevant to me than take the second, even if it only takes a second. Yeah, it only takes a second times like 50,000 over the next 2 years. You know, it's a lot, right? So I mean, yeah, I have a million for sure.
Yeah, it's like cleaning. The whole concept of cleaning is not to do it once and forever. It's just that it's a continual process, and then the clutter builds up and you reorganize. So yeah it's. I think
Dude, something I wish I was better about is organizing photos. I'm curious if you have a system for that, because for me, it's just become such a disaster, especially doing online businessy things. Like, I just have so many random like screenshots and just like photos I saved that are just like, you know, like they're not really anything I would ever like if I died and people had to go through my photos, it would just be like, it's not like there's anything, you know, bad in there, but it's like you'd have to sift through 99.9% just complete
99% dick pics.
No, that's in the 1% good category.
Okay.
No, but there's just so much like literal junk. It would be like looking at your like the trash bin on your computer. It's just like there's a bunch of shit in here. Like there's nothing good. So it's like, who is this person? They're crazy. Like they're just screenshotting a bunch of cars and stuff. Like what's wrong with like say for that PTS for sale Instagram account? Like dude, every single post I have 10 pictures saved.
Yeah.
Times like hundreds of posts. So there's already like freaking thousands of pictures. Like it's just such a disaster. Like anytime I want to find a picture of like from a certain thing, it's so hard. And like, yeah, it does the smart stuff for you. And yeah, I automatically do it with like Google Photos and all that. Like they're there, but it's just like a disaster. Like I'm horrible at like if I wanted to find a picture of like me and you, other than using like the face recognition thing, that'd be basically impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, my system for that is the same as yours.
Oh, that's a great system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
Something I noticed is that in iOS, might have been recent update, is if you go onto someone's text messages with you and then you click their name and then info, you can scroll through all the photos. But what's interesting is they separate it between photos and screenshots, which seems like a very obvious separation to make. And they do it in in iMessage, but they don't do it in the actual Photos app, as far as I can tell, because you can see a folder of all your screenshots, but you can't see a folder of all your photos minus screenshots.
Oh, that would be a fantastic feature.
I think it's a matter of time.
That would be.
It's so
I haven't
obvious.
noticed that yet in Messages. So it has been a feature that for years you could see the photos you've sent back and forth with a particular person,
Right?
but not to separate like that. That's awesome. But then that's what just happened.
I took a sip of coffee and it dropped on my knee.
Okay, we're
Not on the couch.
We're good.
Not on this coffee-colored couch.
Yeah, that would be a disaster. Yeah, I'm sure it's never happened before.
It would go from being coffee-colored to coffee-colored. Anyway, bad joke. What?
No, but that would be a great feature. Because I mean, there's just but it almost wouldn't even fully solve my problem, just because there's a lot of just random photos saved too. Like, what if you could also, like, do you think you could do that where it could even isolate between like literally photos you took with the phone versus like, saving a picture of like a product from a website? You know what I mean?
You'd be able to.
It probably could do that
For sure.
But then that wouldn't even solve it, because maybe I'm saving a picture of me and you from a website, and then it's like it's like I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess I just hope maybe like the automatic. Did I spill on the couch? That'd be hilarious. Or is that just condensation? We're good.
Okay.
We're out of control right now.
Off the rails. Off the rails. Maybe this will be the last episode.
Yeah, that's it, guys.
We're folding up shop, not by choice, but by necessity.
Yeah. So what was I just saying? Just the photos. But I guess my hope is that the sort of like automatic parsing will just get so good at some point that it'll all be fixed. From
Automatic parsing, that could be an episode title. But automatic parsing. But
yeah, like
that'd be great.
Like right now, there's like you can even search by like items. It's like sometimes weirdly specific.
Yeah, I do like being able to search by date. So if I enter like March 2017, then those will come up.
Yeah. Sometimes they do make this shit harder though with updates. I was just noticing something in text messages in iMessage, and I haven't looked into this to like see if there's probably an easy solution, but like the way it changed made it not obvious to me. Is like, if you're in your messages and you see like, all your messages with all these people, there's a search up at the top, right? So let's say I hadn't texted you, Sam, in a while, which is unlikely, but let's say that had happened.
Okay.
What I used to do is I would go in the search and I would type Sam, and immediately I would see your text thread, right?
Yeah.
The way it seems to be working for me right now is that if I typed the word Sam into the search, it would find me the word Sam within text messages, which maybe has never happened, or maybe it's happened with me texting somebody else, but it doesn't just pull up the person. So you have to like now go to like create message and like input, like I'd have to like type. It's so weird. I'm like, how did they break this? It's like, that's like the one thing I'm doing within. See if yours is like, let's fucking see.
Don't think that it's like that.
I swear.
Okay, let me find someone who I've texted a while ago.
Swear. There might be some silences for a sec, but this is worth it. I'm pulling up my phone too.
Okay. All right, Ryan, I texted in October. So if I type
okay, now it just worked for you, but I swear it didn't work for people that I haven't texted.
Oh no, so so if I type in Ryan, then he comes up at the top of my screen.
Look, here's a perfect example. I've got a perfect example. So I haven't texted Armand in a while. Okay.
Okay.
So if I'm here in my messages,
Right.
search Armand blank.
Damn, dude, yours actually works different than me because I have the previews at the top.
Well, I have that. I have that for people I've recently texted.
No, but if I type in like Ryan, it'll come up right there.
Yeah, but for some reason it's like not look, if I type in Sam, it comes up right there.
Yeah. Even for someone I've texted.
Look, so it does work for you, but it doesn't work for a lot of them.
Huh. Even for someone, let's go like back to like this past March for Rob. I think it'll work. Rob. Yeah, I don't know.
Here, I'll try a Rob. I know a Rob too.
Get on the list.
Yeah. So see, look, I just put in Rob, and it just it pulled out Tony Robbins from a text that I had. With
Maybe it's your
else.
settings. I don't know.
I don't know what I would have ever changed, but I mean, random tangent, but
yeah,
stuff like that is weird, and I feel like sometimes they make these things worse. Like I definitely was doing that, like before the latest iOS update, like because that's how I would text people. It'd be like I wouldn't scroll through the list looking for the last time I texted you even if you were only like the 10th one down or something. I would just start typing Sam, and then you just click on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So fuck you, Apple, if you're listening.
I don't know. In the next segment, we're gonna do a deep 25-minute dive into why this feature isn't.
Yeah.
Have you done?
Sam's gonna write an article.
Yeah, in-depth guide.
Yeah, how to fix whatever you call this problem.
Yeah. Have you done any cool technology hacks recently with your like phone or with anything like?
First one that came to mind semi-recently. You mean like kind of just any sort of productivity or biohack tech type of thing?
Yeah.
One is that I switched from Flux to Iris, which if people have never heard of Flux, it's like f.lux, I believe. And it's like it tints your screen at night, block blue light, things like that for sleep and for, your eyes, all that. I switched to Iris because I heard it's like, I think it's iris.co. I switched because it's hard to explain, but apparently the way that their software works is it actually like it changes the way your screen flickers. So one of the problems with LEDs and screens and lights is not just the hue, but it's actually like the flicker, like the refresh rate. And
the refresh rate.
And so there's a difference between, say, on your Mac or any computer, sliding the brightness all the way down and, say, keeping the brightness down, but manually somehow like lowering the intensity of the brightness. So what this software does is it keeps your brightness setting actually at max, but it can still dim it and all this other stuff, like through some other weird pathway in the settings that it's doing through its software. So supposedly it makes like the flicker rate much better and has some more controls for like, making your screen red and stuff like that. So that was the first one that came to mind. But I feel like there's some other things that I've done recently that I'm trying to remember in terms of tech. Do you have one while I think?
I started using the Waking Up meditation app for I think 6 or 7 days.
I've heard such good things about it.
Yeah, it's because I heard such good things that even from Kevin Rose, who has his own meditation app.
I heard him talk about it too, and I thought the same thing. I was like, wow.
Wow, really selling yourself out. I guess the complete opposite of selling yourself out, where he basically was like, look, even though I've made a meditation app and I own this, it's not as good as the Waking Up app from Sam Harris.
Yeah, and I think he's not like shitting on himself too much.
He's not, because he's saying that good.
And he's saying that they fit sort of different needs. He's putting his in sort of the category of calm and headspace, and he's putting Sam's as like a course. It's like a teaching, the way I've heard about it.
Right.
So, I actually was in like the Oak beta group, like when he first talked about it. Like I was super pumped about it. I haven't used it lately, but I was using it a lot earlier. But I've wanted to try Waking Up. So how is it?
I like it. I'm like 6 or 7 days in, but it's a totally different type of meditation than I've done for the last few years, because since college, I would just put on an instrumental track in my headphones and try to just focus on my breath. But this app is actually, he's talking sort of on and off for the entire meditation, and he'll just tell you like, well, focus. He'll say stuff like focus on your breath fully. But what's interesting is he talks the entire time almost as like a coach. And he'll be like, well, notice that if you've started thinking, just notice, well, where do those thoughts come from? Why do they spring up? What are the thoughts? Pay close attention to it. Or something that stuck with me from one the other day. He said, and sometimes your mind can get anxious, especially if you're going through some discomfort, if something is uncomfortable. And certainly if it's uncomfortable, you can adjust, but try the experience of not adjusting and see how that feels, because a lot of times in these moments, our mind can be fearful of whether you can bear it, whether you can bear the discomfort. But in any moment, you actually have already borne the discomfort. You're already have tolerated it. The real discomfort comes from your fear of still tolerating it in the next moment.
You just did such a good job of channeling Sam Harris. Like, that was incredible because I love his thinking, but I feel like it's very hard to like explain it to people. Like, I've tried to be like, tell people why, and I'm just like, I don't know, just like, you just listen to him. But Sam Harris was some of the first guided meditations I ever did were his, actually, because Tim Ferriss was talking about it like years back, like before Sam even had a podcast. And I think if you go, on Sam Harris's podcast, if you go like way back to the very beginning, I'm pretty sure the first couple episodes were just guided meditations that I did back then. I used to like do them all the time because his are so, he comes from this scientific background, but also like, psychedelic and stuff like that. And he just has a way of making it like way deep yet not hippie-ish at the same time. Like it's just so.
He's the farthest thing from a hippie.
Right. It just has a different quality than any other guided meditation I've ever done.
He's very good at explaining things in a way that if you're not already an expert at meditation, you will understand. Like he's good at like kind of dangling that imaginary carrot in front of you and making you be like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like he will say stuff like, and like, you'll notice that like being aware of your mind, it really is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. As crazy as it may sound, like you will realize how deep that you can go with this. And it kind of, I think it's this rare thing where apparently you can go really deep with it according to what we've heard. But even for a beginner, I think that it is able to kind of hold your hand enough.
Yeah. I think the one thing is it's like fairly expensive for an app, isn't it?
Yes and no. So it's the first 5 are free, and then if you want to get actually do it, so get the real version, it's $99 for the year, which is expensive. But what they don't advertise very upfront, if you email them and you say, I can't afford this, but I would like to still have the app.
I've heard him say that.
They'll give it to you for free. So if you're willing to just send that email.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. like, are you going to do that?
I didn't. And maybe I should have. My rationale was like, I actually don't want to spend this money. I would like to save it, but shit, like, not only is this a good cause I'm supporting, but I think that it's almost an investment in myself, and I want to create the stakes with myself of possibly not getting my money's worth.
It's like other online courses.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, obviously.
But I think that if you're thinking about doing it and you're like, fuck, it's too expensive, then just email them. Like, there's no shame in that.
Or if you like literally can't afford it, like just do it.
Yeah.
But like,
or if you can kind of afford it, but you'd rather not, fucking email them.
Yeah.
Pay next year.
I don't like, it's funny because I can sit here right now and be like, yeah, I don't think you should be guilty about it. But then I think about myself and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
but honestly, like I'd feel a little bit, I understand the compulsion to not send that email, but like I would also like, I mean, clearly there is a certain mental barrier to doing it, but I think if someone wants to, just be strong enough to send that email. Like,
it's almost easier to justify sending the email though if you truly can't afford it, right? Like if you truly can't afford it, then you're like, I truly can't afford it. But like probably anyone even listening to this podcast like could afford it. I would say. Like, maybe not comfortably, but like, you could do it, but it's still like,
But I think it's like honor system.
It's still just like a, at any level of money, like there's still things that just feel like a lot. And I feel like because it's an app, it just still sounds like kind of a lot,
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's similar to say like online courses and what you said about, sort of like it forcing you to take it more seriously. That's something I've experienced for sure, is like now when I want to learn something like business wise, like I just joined this course like a few days ago, and like by paying for it, I'm like, well, now I have to fucking listen to this shit. Like I need to really go through this and like, try to do something with it. Whereas like, I had been following this person's free content for, a long time, and, the paid stuff might not even be that much deeper than the free stuff. But now I feel like there's this physical feeling in my body that I have to like really do it,
With stuff like this, like whether it's meditation or buying a book, if I think that I kind of want to do it, I'm never going to just not do it because of the price, because it's just such a potentially high reward investment. And absolute worst case, absolute bottom of the barrel, worst fucking case, I lose $99.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I just to keep going on that though, is like, I think the fact that you're paying does it, there's something really real about that, like if it was completely free, I just don't think you'd take it as seriously.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason I'm doing it. For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is such an interesting phenomenon,
Yeah.
Like even say with like YouTube and putting, business content on YouTube, by the simple fact that it's free makes you perceive it differently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's cool though. I mean, I think at some point I will. I think right now it's like one of those things where it's also a time decision for me. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many things I'm already trying to like do and go through and consume and make and create, and like, I don't know. Like,
I think for me, it's like, I wake up and the first thing that I do, is meditate. Mm-hmm. I'll go pee and then meditate.
That's the real truth, right? Everyone's like, yeah, I wake up first thing and I meditate. It's like, nah, you actually just fucking pissed because you woke up like really having to piss, and you like fucking ran to the bathroom and you pissed, and then you washed your hands, and now you're like walking back to the couch and your hands are kind of wet, and now you're gonna meditate.
Yeah, liar. You put your foot on the ground first, you walk to the bathroom, you open the toilet seat, you are embellishing for your own personal gain.
Yeah, like these gurus they don't even have to pee. They don't even have to eat either. They just did I ever tell you there was
blocking gurus?
Yeah, it was this like, I don't even know where I read this or anything, but it was probably like made up. It was like just this funny concept of like if you like drank the perfect amount of water and ate the perfect amount of food, that you would never piss or shit ever.
Oh my god. Which cannot be true.
Obviously not true.
Yeah, no.
Even if you were able to pull it off for a short period of time, I'm pretty sure you'd have like sepsis and die like the next day.
Yeah. It's just the poop is not like.
But I just like that concept. Like I love thinking about that concept.
As if you're filling up like a bucket, right, and it doesn't overflow until you put in too much.
But I just like the imagination of like this perfect amount of input and output just being in like perpetual balance,
like perpetual harmony.
Yeah, so even meditators have to piss first thing in the morning. Yep.
Which is kind of an interesting segue to that meme from yesterday.
Perfect.
It's this
great segues this episode, by the way. You're like on fire with a few segues.
The teleprompter is working well. We wrote this all up beforehand. So it's this meme of this guy with like a beard and like a ponytail, and he's
pull that shit up, Jamie.
All right, Jamie, thank you. He's like in like yoga tree pose, and he's like, brother, there's no such thing as the future. There's only the present moment. And he's like closing one eye and opening the other. It's kind of funny. And then there's like this other frame in the meme where it's like, yeah, but you know what I mean. Did I explain that well?
The only thing I would add is he's like in a spacesuit, like jumping through a portal, right?
Oh, like from the future.
Yeah. So it's like this guy in the present moment is saying, the typical, like, there is no future. It's just the present. But then, like, this spacesuit future guy pops through the wall and is like, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Somehow I think that people will, like, be like, there's no such thing as the past or the future. There's only the present. Somehow, I think that it's more true for the past than the future. It's like, there is, but even there in the past, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying we can teleport back there, but, like, don't you remember it?
I think, like, the genius of this cartoon is the you know what I mean, because you can like semantically argue this either way. Like there is no past, there is no future. Like I can get that.
It's always right now.
I can get my head around that logically. I mean, you could even say there is no right now, or that it's all just like one point, or like whatever,
right.
Like whatever level you extrapolate this to. But the real point is, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? Because there is like at least a perceivable progression of time, and we have memories of a past that may or may not have existed or whatever, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that what it's really hitting on is this thing that's deeper. It's like, is your mind looking to see what someone else sees, or is it looking to disagree?
Yeah.
It's like,
that's true too. Yeah. Because like you can always just be kind of like picking a fight and arguing about these things that are really just semantic disagreements.
yeah. Or maybe even like picking a fight, whether it's conscious or maybe even subconscious, like your mind just, I don't know, maybe you just can't see the connection or you interpret it, but like, I don't know. I feel like the most effective conversations that I've had are when you like try and understand, and when you like almost try and agree with what the other person is saying. Or I don't know.
Like you have to sort of let down some of those barriers of just like accepting that you know what the person is trying to say. Like you know what they're trying, like they're circling this idea, but
right.
You can it's almost like an Alan Watts thing. It's like you can never really fully describe the thing, So
like reality was created without words.
Right. Like a cow was a cow before it had the name cow.
Yeah.
And the cow word is just our best representation of, you know what I mean, when there is a cow.
Yeah. It's like being able to exist in a world with the word cow allows us to be here on the couch. Without that creature here, I would have to maybe point at it, and I can just say cow, and now your mind conjures up some image of a cow.
But what I like about the Alan Watts thing is, like, the word is never as good as the real thing, It's like, because every time I say cow, in your mind and in the mind of everyone listening, like, literally it's almost impossible to not have, like, an image of a cow or, like, this representation of a cow. But, like, it's not the whole thing. Like, it's not really the whole essence of what a cow is.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the function of language.
Yeah.
But yeah,
language is helpful for sure.
Yeah. But I guess what Alan Watts is saying is that when you start to confuse the word with the thing, and when you start to treat references to things as absolute truth, then you get lost.
Yeah, totally. You can definitely take it just a step too far.
Yeah. And like, I think that something else that's important is with any, call it guru, or like just like maybe teacher is probably a much better word, is with anyone, they're going to be saying these sentences, and such as, there's no such thing as the future, it's only the present. And like, there's this desire to sort of just like take that sentence and put it right into your mind and start saying stuff like that.
Right.
But if you don't actually filter it through your own mind and like try and understand it and try and make sense of it, and then upload that filtered version to your mind, then you're just kind of being brainwashed.
That was incredibly well said. That exactly.
Thank you so much.
Right, because I mean, and it applies to almost everything. Where like there's teachers and there's people and there's people putting out thoughts, and it's so easy to just repeat it and parrot it and squawk it out to all your friends as ultimate truth.
Yeah,
and like, and it's which is spreading ideas is great, but I think
But not if you can't understand them.
Not if you haven't even digested it yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of that. I mean, it applies to so many things, right? I mean, even to make like a less philosophical example, like say like a new phone comes out and like one person says an opinion about it, about like, oh, well, like, you know, the thingy is too round or whatever. And then like the entire internet, like on all the forums, like people that have never seen the phone, they've never used the phone, they've never touched the phone, they're just like, oh, the thingy is too round. It's like,
yeah,
that's such a thing, right?
Yeah, I think that confidence is such a powerful thing, and when someone hears somebody that's confident, you just like, it's fucking infectious, and you want to agree with that. You want to like hang out with that person. But I think that the path to confidence is questioning your ideas and really questioning. It's like the path of that is doubt, and if you can doubt and if you can think something through, then eventually you'll wind up with like kind of like a battle-hardened idea, so to speak, that you feel more sure of, maybe never 100% sure of, but more sure of. But it's just mentally and energetically just cheaper to just act.
Right. Like actually sitting on it and thinking requires like a level of awareness and energy to even get to those conclusions.
And it requires a willingness to let ideas go. Yeah.
When you don't agree with them.
Right.
Because, yeah, I mean, being able to challenge an idea is great too. But I think there's an exact inverse to what you're describing too. Because there's also like, you know, the devil's advocate. There's also the skeptic who writes off everything.
Yeah. But I think in a sense you could say that the skeptic is also not filtering it.
Yeah,
through their mind.
It's the exact same thing.
You decide beforehand.
Yeah.
Either way.
It's the exact same thing on two different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. Like what do we call the first one? The non-skeptic, the optimist, or not really?
The believer.
The blind believer.
Yeah.
Is afraid of their initial assumption to be wrong, so they just take it. The skeptic also is afraid of their initial assumption to be wrong.
Just one is the positive and one is the negative.
Yeah, both are, I guess what it is, and this kind of even ties back to meditation a bit, both sort of fix themselves, both turn off their sensory experience and just kind of pick a final destination without like to really be aware in the moment, like being aware. And this the app kind of goes into this. It's every moment is changing. Something he'll say is like, and just notice the sounds around you. Notice how they'll arise and then they go out, and there's really not any controlling how this happens. It's just kind of a continuous process. And I mean, that's kind of how thinking works. It's that, oh yeah, new things arise, they fall out, and just to be willing to ride that wave of change, I think is, yeah, it's interesting. I guess we're kind of thinking about thinking right now.
Yeah. Which Sam Harris is like maybe the master of everybody at.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got an interesting thing going.
Not to turn this into like a joke, but like, don't you think his voice helps that so much?
Oh yeah.
Like imagine if he just had like some like nasally like voice or something like.
Yeah. But I think that people's voice is a reflection of their mind.
Wow.
Like the reason that his voice sounds calm is not because he was fucking born, maybe they both kind of go into it, but I think that the reason that he sounds so calm, for example, like when we're calm, our voice sounds different also, because voice is not just this from birth thing, but it's like, it's a cadence, and like it's a reflection of your mental state. It's almost like a fingerprint for your mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a side of it that I think is probably just, based on like the structure of your nose, and then there's parts that are like you said, tone. Maybe that's like tonality, but then there's other parts. But I guess like the point is just he has such a way of conveying that tone in the things that he's saying. I listened to a podcast with his wife too, who is also extremely interesting. I don't know if you've like dove into any of her at all, like Annika Harris. So she wrote a book recently that's like on my list potentially to get to. There's so many, like probably most likely I probably won't get to it, but it sounds really interesting. And I listened to a podcast with her about it, and I believe it's just called Conscious by Annika Harris, and she explores the what is it called? Panpsychism, which is the concept of everything being conscious, like things that we would typically determine are not conscious, like a coaster on a table.
Right.
And she's not saying that is the case, but from the neuroscience side of things, the problem of consciousness is literally referred to in neuroscience as wait, I almost messed it up. I think it's it's the hard problem. The hard problem in neuroscience is like, when does consciousness arise? Because you can always shift where the line is. Like your average person would think that a human is conscious, right?
Right.
Okay. Is a dog conscious?
Most people would probably think yes.
Okay. Is a beaver conscious?
I would say still most people probably think yes.
Okay. Is a hamster conscious?
Yeah.
Okay. Is a lizard conscious?
Yeah.
Is a tadpole conscious?
To an extent.
Okay. Is an ant conscious?
To an extent. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We don't have to go further, but to an extent, yeah. I mean, it gets to a point where everyone's line is a little bit different, right? And like, generally the line is somewhere in that ant range, I guess you'd say. Mm-hmm. But not long ago, people thought dogs were unconscious, and I mean, and I'm saying that as if it's the truth. I mean, we don't know if any. Like, it's back to the semantics thing, honestly. Yeah. It's like, what are we really trying to say? Like, to an extent, an amoeba is responding to its environment, but like, when does consciousness arise? And we don't know. So anyways, this whole concept of panpsychism, which is really just like a thought experiment. It's not like saying this is happening,
right?
But it's because there's been no real leap in understanding of consciousness, really. Like it's one of the areas where we like still are the most blind in all of science. Is what is it? What is this consciousness thing, and how does this arise out of seemingly nothing? Like, at some point there's not consciousness, and at some point there is consciousness, and that is something that we cannot point to in the brain. Like, we can't point to in anything. So it's like a fun thing to explore. But I listened to her on, I don't remember the name of the podcast. It's something I just subscribed to, but she was being interviewed. It was a really good episode. Maybe I'll put it into the newsletter or something, but I can't remember right now, but she's interesting, and that's an interesting concept that, people could check out.
I gotta pee. I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
All right, let's do a pause. All right, and we're back.
We're back. So we were talking about the theory that everything is conscious.
Yeah, that was basically it on that. But it's something interesting for people to explore. But the reason I thought of it was actually on the voice topic, because it's interesting to listen to her and just to like hear their similarities, and you'd be like, oh, like I can almost imagine like what their like household is like. you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine? Like, it's so cool because they're both like very chill and very thoughtful and very, very scientific, but having the other side as well. So they're just so interesting, right?
They are, yeah. It's very like, kind of like, very present, like kind of blank slate personality. Not that he doesn't have a personality, but it's very just like,
right. I know what you're getting at.
Like, direct.
He's very good at like just having a completely clear mind, I think.
Right.
Like to where like blank slate makes it sound like uninteresting.
Yeah,
I guess.
it makes him sound like
Yeah, he just has this
stupid.
blank stare on his face all the time. I mean, he does have a little bit of that going on, but like in a good way. I mean it in a good way. But
yeah,
I do wonder, like, yeah, does he like? I mean, I think he laughs sometimes on podcasts, right? Occasionally.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's laughed before.
Yeah, at least once or twice in his life.
It must.
I think so. One thing to circle back to, if you want, is like you mentioned the Aubrey Marcus mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I thought heavily about applying last year. So it's this mastermind. It's a year-long mastermind, and I think this upcoming year there's going to be 3 5-day retreats, and then there's going to be 3 like weekend meetups.
That's a good amount of stuff.
It is, and I listened to a podcast from Aubrey recently, and here they were just like it was with him, Eric Godsey, who works for him, and a few other people that are kind of like in that crew, and they were just saying how like this Fit for Service tribe has kind of become like their main community, and it's been so much more powerful than any of them have expected. And I just heard that like part of my hesitation was just the cost. It's like for an entire year, it's like $12,500, which is a lot for anyone, a lot for me. And I was hesitant, but like I was just like, fuck it, like I'm moving to Austin, like I haven't quite had a community for a while, and I'm gonna make this investment. Like I don't know, there's no guarantees, but I'm super excited about it. Just like to have like, not only I have 6 things on my calendar for next year already where I'm going to be seeing the same people over and over again, but it's going to be a totally different experience than what I've had. Like, while I definitely border on what Aubrey talks about, but I'm not like, I don't know. I guess there's going to be diversity with everyone, and I'll meet people that are different. But I think that just having sort of a framework, the biggest benefit I see is just having it as be like a framework for me to grow and push myself within people and a community that I'll be able to share the successes and challenges with. And just like, I think everybody in a sense is going to be invested in each other's success. And I've just felt a little bit lonely since moving to LA with like, sometimes it feels like there's not as many like-minded people around. Obviously we have that. So I'm like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to spend the money, like invest in myself, see what happens.
Yeah. I remember, I guess it must have been roughly a year ago. You called me and you're like, dude, I'm doing it. And I was like, holy shit. But then I guess you decided against it by the end. But I think now it makes even more sense. So I'm happy that it's almost good that you waited, probably, because this just it's coinciding with the move to Austin. It's just, I'm like really genuinely excited to just like hear about it.
Yeah. So am I. I'm pumped.
And it's expensive, but it's hard to say like the word, the acronym, I guess not a word, ROI is like, it's hard to say like, would you get a direct financial ROI, but there's definitely like a severe ROI, like a serious ROI in this, like just in terms of life. Like I'd be very surprised if you were like, was bummed I did that.
Yeah, I can't imagine that either.
I can't either. Yeah. So no, I'm like, I think it should be awesome. I mean, I've definitely like, heard him post about some of the meetups over the past year. Like I saw like they did like Sedona and Tulum, I think, and I don't know what else, but like I saw some of them and it seemed really cool. How many, do you know how many people it is?
I vaguely remember them saying it was like 150 last year.
Wow.
So, I would expect maybe between 100 and 200.
Wow. That's
more
not too big, but that's more than I thought.
Yeah.
Dang, here. What's 12 grand times 150?
Making bank.
What is that? 1.5 million?
I think so.
Wow. Yeah.
No.
Am I off by?
I think it's. Oh no,
Wait.
It is. Yeah, because 1,000 times 1,000 is 1,000,000, and then it's so like 100 times 10,000.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So it's like, so if it's 150 times 12 and a half, then it's like
almost 2 million.
Yeah. Wow. Damn. That's wild. We should just start one of those.
Yeah. So funny you mentioned.
Well, sort of.
Funny you mentioned. I'm gonna compete with Aubrey. I'm gonna call it Fit
Private
Buy Service.
I'm gonna rename myself to Aubrey Marcus.
Yeah, Aubrey Feldman.
Private label mastermind.
Yeah.
Huge business model.
I mean,
I'm working on a course of how to private label your mastermind right now.
You're like, how to do it. Just drop your email. See what you see. Just get in the funnel.
Yeah.
But
I cut you off a little. I think you were about to say.
I kind of forget what I was gonna say, but yeah, I'm excited. Like, I don't know. In the last few months of LA, it's just been like ups and downs, and it's been like kind of lonely at times. And just like every night, I'm just like in my apartment, just like kind of chilling by myself a lot of nights. And like a lot of times, what I would do is just like you get bored, I'll just like smoke weed, and that kind of like makes things more exciting. But you know, when I started smoking weed, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, more maybe like two or 3 years ago, it started by really helping me think outside the box. But then I think at a point it just becomes this like habit, and I just like reach for it, I take a hit of the joint, and like I think it can be medicine and it can help, but I got to a point where I'm just like using it to kind of like escape normal mode. So I stopped about, it's been a week and a half since I've done it, and I want to just give some times, but like before I even think about starting again, I just want to like wake up, like feel normal. Like I've just been stressed a lot, so I want to kind of feel like I have like normal energy levels and like be just like working consistently. And like I don't know, I'm working to just be healthier. I'm trying to eat healthier. Trying to like, I'm reading this book about sleep, Why We Sleep by Matt Walker, which is great. And my goal is just to like get into that mindset, because I don't know, like in theory, I'm really excited about next year. And I think that just what needs to come into line is just feeling like, I don't know, I've just felt like maybe since stopping weed, I'm going through some withdrawals. I felt like tired and like foggy and like lack of energy. And I don't know, there's just like a bunch of shit in the air in my life, but
yeah, I think it's cool you're doing all these changes kind of at once though. Like you're just going to be like a new person in a way. I mean, like not too much, but like it's cool that all these things are coinciding, right? Like I think like quitting weed even for right now sounds, it's cool to, it's cool to, this is going to sound like I'm like taking a hit right now.
Yo, go on, bro.
Hold on. No, that was just a normal cough over here.
Matt,
what was I saying?
A fat cloud.
What was it?
You were saying the coinciding of the time with everything.
I do think that's cool. It adds just adds a different feeling to like like a fresh chapter type of thing.
Yeah, and like I signed up for a stand-up comedy class that starts like 3 days after I get to Austin.
Sweet.
I haven't yet, but I'm gonna join a co-working space. So I just want to like have systems in place, and like I am worried about money, especially because like when tax time comes around next year, I'm gonna have to spend more. So I am still worried about that, but I'm just hoping to balance everything, and hoping to Austin will help with expenses for sure.
That is a for sure downside of California. Yeah. It's a bummer for sure. But that should be awesome. I mean, damn. I'm so excited just for like everything that you have coming and changing. It's crazy.
I feel good. I feel hopeful.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be great for you. Seriously. I know I'm going to leave LA at some point. I mean, we talk about it like literally all the time. We've definitely talked to you, like, I guess we don't need to go into specifics right now, but like it'll happen.
Up to you. Yeah.
It'll happen. But what I'll just say is like, you know, maybe like, I think we might kind of like test it on a smaller scale, like by, like not a super drastic move. Mm-hmm. Like in that direction.
Oh, like Encinitas or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that's like kind of a testing ground for like, okay, we've left LA, but like it's not like we just moved to Hawaii or a different country or like even Austin or something, like just to, I don't know. I feel like it'd be like a kind of a good testing ground in a lot of ways.
For sure. And you guys could even do there's outside houses in Encinitas.
Oh, they're there too?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
dang.
they actually just opened a new one with minimum 30-day stay, which means that you'll get more continuity in the people.
Oh, minimum 30 day. So did they used to have like weekly or?
I think it used to be minimum 3 days, or it's at a lot of their sites it's minimum 3 days.
That's cool. So it keeps your people like more consistent.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, even when you visit to Austin, you can stay outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a big one for us is just like, I don't know. I mean, we've gone through this several times on the podcast probably, so we might not have to go that deep into it, but you know, I think for us, like just at some point wanting like the more quiet, you know, but like in a different way, you know, like having space, like even with something like Encinitas, like I was even looking like, you know, what's like a little inland from Encinitas, like something that would be just like, you know, have a little bit more space around you. But I also love being by the beach so much, and I think there's so many benefits to like, you know, walking on the beach every morning or something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm like, we'll see how Austin goes for me. I feel like I'm even dipping my toes in the water, and like through me, you'll probably have a perspective on what something like that might look like. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to talk as time goes on.
I hear so many good things about Austin, and I mean, I love it myself, but like I just continuously just hear, like, even Tim Ferriss, I was listening, it was like a Q&A with him.
Oh yeah, I heard this. Yeah,
and it was just like, how has your quality of life changed since moving to Austin? And he was just like, it's better in every single way.
Yeah.
I was just like, wait. No, like that's too far. I was like, holy shit. That's like, it was such a strong statement the way he said it. I was like, whoa. But
something that hit home for me, he was like, the people are friendlier, and some of the friendliest people I've ever met.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like part of me years from now wants to like, you know, maybe live in multiple areas, you know, bounce around, like have a place in Austin and a place in Hawaii or something like that.
Or you could just, that's what outside is. You could just bounce. They have places in Austin and Hawaii.
They're bigger than I thought. Damn.
And Tahoe and LA, SF.
Yeah, I think we like maybe want our personal space more than you at this stage.
No, do outside. Do it, Matt.
So
do it.
They just got you all hooked up with their commission structure.
Yeah. Do it. Tell them Sam sent
use code SAM50 at checkout.
Tell them use code Sam. Do it, Matt. Do it. Yeah, Sam sent you.
Yeah. I mean,
sorry.
No,
I'm off the rails.
That was funny. Too much decaf coffee for you.
Yeah, give me my medicine.
The weed.
That's
the withdrawals.
But I did think of what I was gonna say. I'm not starting Fit Buy Service, the competitive mastermind, to Aubrey, but I am gonna try and.
Sorry, we got so sidetracked. My bad.
Yeah, no.
I just did it again.
Just for future reference, let's try and not take any side tracks, but instead stay on the main track. I'm gonna organize entrepreneur dinners, or that's the plan as of now, to put together an application, try and like start it. It's still a little bit cloudy in my mind as far as the exact details, but I'm gonna put together an application and either do Facebook ads or get word of mouth and try and do these dinners maybe once a month or every 2 weeks. And just have a group of entrepreneurs. The requirement I'm going to do is 100K or more revenue, just to get someone's getting some traction. And that'll be a kind of recurring event that I'm doing. It'll be nice to kind of like dip my toes in the waters of like building a community. And this is something that I did back in DC right before I moved to California as well.
You did a little here too. I mean, that's like even the Amazon meetups and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Which it was so funny. Like just the other day, I'm like experimenting with some other YouTube ads even right now. Well, I mean, I've like barely started on this, but I was gonna try something where anyone that has like watched, say, Amazon content recently from me, like, but maybe isn't subscribed, like isn't dived in, I like to try to run organic videos as ads to them, just to like kind of keep them more in my space for a bit. And so I was looking through like all these old videos like that are Amazon related. And one that I stumbled on was like, there's only like 3 times that I've like, given a talk, right? Mm-hmm. And one of them was at like that Amazon meetup at that like little place in like Culver-ish.
Yeah.
And like you were introducing me and I like forgot that was like in the video and everything. So it's like you standing there like giving like my bio, and then I like walk up, and I feel like we barely even knew each other at the time.
That seems like so long.
That was probably that was probably only like the second or third time we even met.
Damn, I remember that. I remember like, yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really funny to like go back to that and see it. Like I should send it to you after this.
Yeah, man, I forgot about that too.
Yeah, like I remember. I mean, obviously I remembered like you had a part in it, but I like didn't really fully remember that you like introduced me.
And those Amazon meetups went so well.
They did.
People loved them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I started is that I was building this Chrome extension for Amazon sellers that like ended up kind of getting derailed by Amazon. So it was a Chrome extension that allowed Amazon sellers to contact directly people that left a product review, and the way that it worked was it matched a product review's like ID, which was publicly available, to the corresponding ID on the seller dashboard. But Amazon removed product reviews IDs like 3 weeks after I launched the thing, which made it more or less totally unusable. And they just like kept removing this ID in different places, and I kept fixing it, and I just realized like they're getting rid of this. So
yeah, and now I think it's been fully plugged. Like I don't think anybody's doing it.
Which was, I mean, it happened over so quickly. So anyway, so I stopped doing that, which kind of like that's why I started the Amazon meetups, to grow a community and to try and get this thing going. But yeah, those worked so well, and like even if it didn't like, I mean, my product was gone by that point, but like we saw each other more. Like, yeah, it was nice to get experience event planning.
Yeah, no, it's cool that you even it again, it like says something about you. Is like the way you're thinking about this is like, it's not really something that I should think about it more. I don't, but it's just even a cool concept to like throw these dinners or these events or something like that. It's not something I've done, but do you think do you see the dinners as, something that could be, long-term profitable, or more like something that you want for your community? Like, are you?
Yeah, I don't aim to like, I don't see it as like a money-making thing.
Right. But you're seeing it as like, charge to be able to like get some cool people together.
Yeah. And I think that charging just kind of creates some sort of commitment on someone's like I'll actually be interested in hearing what you think about it. Maybe we can even think it through a bit now. Sure. But I think what I'm going to do is charge monthly, just to get people to kind of pre-commit to doing this and to have a level of commitment. And then at dinner, like I'm not going to like be too stringent on the math or the numbers, but like every month, like it'll be like, yeah, get an entree, get a beer. It's all on me or the business or whatever.
Right.
And then like over time, I think it'll all work out. Some restaurants will be more expensive, some will be less.
So just try to charge enough that it like breaks even.
And what we did when I did this entrepreneur retreat in Bali, what we did is like, get an entree, get a drink, and then like if you want to get more, like order it, and then just like give the people money that are going to be paying with their card or whatever, just like an approximate amount on our code.
Yeah. Right.
And people.
I think that's fair, especially like with the monthly thing. You're doing the continuity, kind of like Outside. You're getting the same people, so I'm sure it kind of like, it doesn't like everyone's gonna. It's like if we go to dinner, it's like, oh yeah, I'll Venmo you or whatever. Like it'll probably happen kind of organically.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about. Yeah, I'm sure the money will work out. I do like kind of pre-charging people just to have that commitment.
Yeah.
And you'll come to one in Austin as well.
Hell yeah, that's sweet. Picnic.
Yeah.
Picnic Austin. Hit them up.
Picnic.
You need to, have you been there?
Oh, no. Is that a restaurant?
It's a restaurant. Dude, I mean, might not be exciting. Well, then again, you're getting into the health stuff. Dude, it's like, I will say this with conviction. It is the number one paleo restaurant in the world that I've been to.
Okay.
Yeah, literally. Like literally when we've mapped out like what it would be the pros and cons of moving to Austin, it's like pro. Picnic.
All right.
Yeah. PICNAK. NIK.
I was like, whoa, unexpected turn.
Picnic. Did I spell picnic?
Picnic.
Yeah. PICNIK. It's because I was thinking through the not having a C before the K, and I like completely ignored what I was saying at the moment.
Got it.
Oh man, yeah, that place is incredible. That'll keep me coming out to visit you for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What else is going on?
Let's see.
Well, one thing, I mean, to answer my own question, one thing like for me is launching this new car parts business, which
such a cool.
I'm super excited. So, one thing that I'll talk to you about after this is like I'm not yet going to say exactly what it is with the brand for one particular reason. This is something that I plan on being actually really open about with people. Like I want to fully, talk about the brand, show the product, like, show the process.
You're not going to tell them that it's
not right now. So, and I'll tell you, like, not the audience, you, Sam, this is something I want to talk to you about this. But I fully intend to be transparent with this product. It's just not yet. Though if anyone's actually listening to this and, just like message me or whatever, I'll tell you, like, but I'm just like, whatever, I'm saying too much. But anyways,
I've already said too much. All right, go on.
It's launched. I'm like so happy about it. Like the branding came out so cool. The website came out so cool. Like the Instagram is cool. We're just getting like all these awesome pictures and videos done. Shout out to Francis crushing the content, of course. I'm just like, it's just so incredible. And, basically the model is just, there's this Porsche part that we just felt we could do better than what was out there. And, it's a high priced product compared to anything else I've done e-commerce, so each sale is meaningful. And, it took us about 7 months of engineering to get to this point, and it's launched. We're in our final production right now. And so we opened it up for like a pre-launch discount for pre-orders. Because they'll probably ship in like 3-4 weeks, which is actually shorter than what the other one is doing as they're not pre-launch. So we're already like winning on that. And yeah, I already got some orders, which is amazing. And now we're like collecting money before even paying the balance payment to our supplier because they're not finished yet. Like we pay the balance when the order's finished, and we're already collecting orders. And it's pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm like really pumped about just how it's all going, and like it's already getting talked about like on the forums. Like people are saying like, oh, this looks like this much better and more affordable, and like it just seeing organic positive spreading already because it's such a small community what this product is. So I can tell like people are already hearing about us, even though we have like literally like 40 Instagram followers. It's just like literally those 40 Instagram followers have already led to like thousands of dollars of sales, which is like wildly specific, right? Isn't that crazy?
That's it's exciting. I'm pumped about it. I think it's just like it seems like it seems like not obvious in like a bad way, but it just seems like very clear to me that this thing is gonna hopefully work.
Like this product specifically. Yeah, no, exactly.
Just like you're the right person to release a part for a Porsche.
Exactly. Yeah. So
you understand the marketing, the website.
What's already out there is just like, it's not like not that it's a bad product, but it's overpriced. They don't know what they're doing in terms of, selling at all. Like it's just existing, and they've done really well. And, we just thought we can make it more affordable because usually I go for a premium price, right? But theirs is already like just outrageously over the top, So I'm like, what we can do is our angle is, same level of quality, make it arguably a little better in a few specific ways and dramatically cheaper. And it just, everyone that never bought the other one is just like flying to us. Yeah. Perfect. So I'm super pumped. Then of course, we're turning it into a whole brand. So again, sorry to like tease it in a weird way, but like very soon I'll be like, the brand is this, go to this. And you can look specifically at it, just like not very, very, very soon. I'll be doing that.
So do you have other parts in mind as well?
For sure. Yeah. So we have a whole list of ideas, like, because that's the thing is, at first we're like, oh, let's do this one product. And then I'm like, wait. brand product line. I'm the guy that talks about this. Like, so now it's like, we have like a whole spreadsheet of like potential ideas, and I'm sure
that's exciting.
I mean, nothing is like that much in the works yet, but so it'll be some time until we have anything else.
Even if you can launch like one a year.
Yeah. I mean, it depends how some will be, more specific and small. Some will be like bigger. Like this one, this one can do quite well I'll tell you, we'll talk more details, but yeah, I mean, I think and again, like,
do you want to say the price point on it?
Yeah, it's like $1,000 product. So yeah, it's fun to play in that range.
Yeah.
And yeah, but we'll definitely do a lot more.
You're basically selling like 1% of a Porsche, but with like 0.001% of the work.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it. And it's so easy to sell to people that own expensive Porsches, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I had this one person, because I have this other Porsche Instagram account, which I have talked about publicly. It's at PTS for sale. It's not perfectly relevant to what I'm doing, but there's a lot of overlap. So what I did was I just put out this like feeler story. I was like, hey, anyone that owns this particular car, message me. I have a question for you. And then I just told all those people specifically about the new brand, the new product. And we were also doing like a $250 off pre-launch. So it was actually $750, not $1,000. And this one guy like replies at 2 a.m. with a question, and I didn't see it. And then at like, and I didn't see this message until like 9 a.m. Right. So at 2 a.m. he had asked a question, and at 6 a.m. he said, I ordered it. So he was just like, fuck it, I'll just order it. Like, it's so easy. Like, these people are just like ready.
He goes to sleep and wakes up in a cold sweat at 5:46. Like, fuck it.
I think he was on, might have been like Europe time zone or something.
That makes sense.
It made sense, but yeah, it was those times for me at least. But yeah, it's just so interesting how like even thinking, because a weird comparison I'm making is it's a similar price point to the Course. Right? Like I sell a Course at this price point, right?
Yeah.
And it requires so much explaining to people. And I have to feel like I'm constantly selling and like assuring people and like being like, look, this is exactly what you're going to get. Like, I know it's scary. You're making this big commitment. Like, I have to, and I don't like doing any of that. But it's like, I've realized it's very required to sell like a $700, $1,000 Course or whatever. You just have like people are going into it very timidly, right? Whereas this car part, people are just like, fuck it, whip out the credit card immediately. Like, no, like there's just like no concern.
The Course, a product is something that you can show a picture. You can't people look at one picture, they instantly know exactly the shape, size, and features of what they're getting. Whereas the Course, you can't show people a picture of.
Exactly, but you can show people exactly what's in it. I mean, it's just different. There's more hesitation.
You can't show people exactly what's in it.
Well, you're right, but you can show what they're gonna get. I mean, it's
but you can't, because the nature of education.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Nothing about your course specifically, but.
No, I know what you mean, but like still, it's like they know that they're going to get this platform and these videos and this group. Right. Like they, it's not like a complete mystery, but it's like the actual content. But but maybe you tell them like whatever. But the point is, right? The point is, this is just like it's just already. I mean, I'm literally like 48 hours into opening the pre-launch, but it's just fascinating how people are just ready or they're not with this. Like there's no like nobody so far has like asked me a million questions, and then really nobody has asked me a million questions either way, like whether they've bought or not bought. They're just like, I see it and I'm either going to buy it right now or buy it later or not buy it. But it's just like very straightforward, which is so,
because people know exactly what they're going to get.
But I think I get what you're saying. I think it goes a level deeper though.
There's no variable return either.
It goes a level deeper though for this reason. Let's say you were buying $1,000 speakers. Okay.
Yeah.
That would still be a pretty hard sell because they'd have so many ones to consider. And how do you know you're making the right choice?
Because you can't convey sound in a photo.
Right. There's all these different there's all these different speakers, but for this, it's like, it's such a specific product with such limited options that it becomes very clear. So I don't think it's just the fact that it's physical. Okay, maybe sound was a bad example. A table, you know, like if you were selling $1,000 table, like you have all these options. You know what they look like, you know the dimensions, but you just can't really make a decision. That's not what's happening here, because with this, it's just like, oh, there's 3 options that exist. One of them looks like shit. One of them is way too expensive, and this one looks amazing and is priced like the shit one. Like that's basically our angle, you know? So I think it's just making it very simple. It's making it such an easy decision where people have like no questions basically. Like I've almost not got a question. I mean, I've got questions. I've had like questions after people order just because they're like curious, but like it's just it's so straightforward. It's really interesting. But I'm excited to do like more and more products. I think it'll be especially cool just once we get even more than one, just so it's like a brand and not just like a product, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's going to be months, especially because everything we're doing, like this is not private label shit. Like that's another thing, is almost to go full circle back to like changing topics on your audience. Like this does not translate to stuff I talk about with Amazon private label. You know what I mean? It really doesn't. Like I'm doing, you know, these are engineered products that are fairly customized, intricate, complicated, very niche and specific with small markets. It's just, it's really, it's new for me too, but it's also interesting to realize that, and this is almost like an optimistic view on just the future of us and everyone listening in terms of entrepreneurship, is every new thing that I start, I'm just so much more ready to start it, if that makes sense. Like even now when I look back at like, you know, my main Amazon brands, I'm like, whoa, like shit is a mess. But then like I think about that and I'm like, well, that was like my clean stuff compared to what I was doing on eBay before that. You know, it's like every level I go on, like what if I started in between Amazon and this? Well, I guess like say like the personal brand stuff. Like even with that, I kind of came out with like a brand and like, you know, the course and products and stuff like that. But then with this one, now it's just like, oh, like now I have all the pieces together. Like I'm coming out with like, you know, the branding looks amazing. The site looks amazing. We have like video, like day one. Like how long did it take me to get like video done on like have you ever done a video for product?
Yeah, it took me a while.
Right, probably. Yeah. This time I'm just like, boom, video done. Like we're just like cranking out stuff because it's like I've learned these various skills now, like from YouTube and from all the other things I'm doing that it's like the longer you're in it, the more you can just put these different pieces together and have something easier too. Yeah, it's cool, but I'm excited about it. It's so nice to be doing something that just feels a little bit more fun right now, because that was like a realization I've for sure had, is just like, whoa, everything I'm working on is not really fun to me. You know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like a really depressing thought, but it's just an honest truth of where I realized I got to, you know? And this is fun because it's allowing me to use some skills I developed that I wasn't having fun with and kind of use them in a fun way. So yeah, I'm excited.
For sure. And like
it is one thing I want your thoughts on is, it's like, how do you target like owners of a specific car? Like that's just, it's hard, right? It's so specific. It's like one layer more specific than even like Facebook or something would be able to do.
It might you might find it easier than you're expecting, because if you're able to target like people who like Porsche, maybe that'll be specific enough. Maybe you can find a way, maybe word of mouth.
Yeah. Like, so there's organic ways for sure. And I think that's absolutely key for this product, especially this product, because this is only for like one specific model. And it's, you know, there's only, you know, there's not that many of these even in the entire world. So this is only probably 0.3% of all Porsches in the world are this car, you know? So it's even more specific than just Porsche.
Do most people buy this stuff online or in a shop?
I think online now. Yeah. So that's our thing, is we're just reaching them directly. The other ones, they go like, you know, they sell through like distribution sort of things.
Right.
Whereas we're kind of going like, we're basically doing like direct to consumer e-commerce. We're like taking a product that already exists. We're going direct to consumer. We're selling it for much cheaper. Like it's basically
I bet.
It's basically the DTC model.
I would definitely set up like AdWords on like some specific searches.
Yeah, that I should do ASAP, like product display.
There's almost no way that wouldn't be super profitable.
Yeah. And there are people doing that. I should definitely do that. Like just people doing direct searches.
Especially if there's not that much competition.
Yeah. There are some running those types of ads.
Right.
I haven't seen any other ads, but I have seen, like if you type in like basically a direct match for this product, like you do see the product display ads. Yeah, we should set up product display ads for sure. The other thing is like, obviously we've talked about like my excitement with YouTube ads, and I think that is an angle we can go because, for example, I'll say this, it's a part, I've probably already said this, it's a part for the GT4. The GT4 is the Porsche that I have. You don't need to know all the details, people. I don't care. But the GT4 is a very specific Porsche. It's the one that I own. And so the question is, how do you target GT4 owners out of Porsche owners, GT3 owners, like all these other Porsches, right?
Yeah.
So one thought is with YouTube, at least you could target by placement. So say any video about GT4s, we could target those videos, It's not necessarily all going to be owners, but it's at least people interested in that car.
Right.
So that's one thought. But say through Facebook, I did like get everything, like pixel, everything. Like we can do, I think the low hanging fruit will be retargeting, abandoned carts, retargeting, stuff like that. Like I think will probably be the first phase of anything paid. But by the way, this is like already, what's so fun about playing in a space like this is like, that is already so far beyond what anyone else in the space is doing, Like,
yeah.
Like these guys like barely know how to have an Instagram.
Do you know how many like GT4s there are in the world that this thing would be compatible with?
So this is where it gets interesting. This part I will like reveal. So,
okay.
So there's about 4,000 in the US and about that many outside of the US total. So 8,000-ish, 8 to 10, I guess.
Okay.
Here's what's crazy is there's a new GT4 coming out. The GT4, like mine that you've seen, was only made for 1 year. They're all 2016s. They're making a 2020 GT4.
Oh.
And the part we're making is either going to be off the shelf compatible or we'll make it compatible very easily.
Right.
So that's our market, not the current one. If we make money on the current one, cool. But they're going to make more of the 2020s than they made of the 2016s by probably double or triple.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's really, that's really the business. If we make money on the 2016s, that's cool. But the 2020s is really the model. So yeah, it'll be going from 8,000 worldwide to like probably another 15 to 20,000 cars. Additional, not total.
And you're still like selling all your products on Amazon that you've been selling?
Yeah.
That must be like pretty, is that automated fully at this point?
Mostly. I don't put a ton into it to do much more, but the keeping it going aspect is fairly automated.
Like in terms of ordering inventory, do you just send it straight to Amazon fulfillment centers from the factory?
Well, through a freight forwarder with steps in the middle of that. But
okay.
Yeah, but so yes and no, kind of depending on how you sort of define it. But freight forwarder handles it directly.
Who's doing customer service, Francis?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot. But also, that's not all. That's also, there's some neglect in there too.
Right.
There's some there's also just. But that's the thing is that I want, like with everything we were talking about on this podcast, like I want to not be defined by that anymore. Like I just like it. I think I've talked about this probably on other episodes too, is just by the nature of, when I started on YouTube, I was like, literally I would talk about Amazon all day, every day anyways. Right.
Yeah.
But something about the barrage of questions, like after about a year on YouTube, like I got to a point where it's like, I don't want to see the word Amazon like ever again for the rest of my life. Like, and that sounds so negative because I still think it's a great opportunity. And here's the thing is I enjoy like everything I'm doing with Zero to Brand and YouTube and all of that is enjoyable because it's like a different side of the process.
Right.
But it made me like, it accelerated the burnout period for sure. Like more than expected. Like it was almost like an overnight thing. It was like I thought I was going to be excited for like years more, and it was just like one day I was just like, holy shit, I'm like really sick of this.
Right.
But it's still solid, you know. It's just like I would, you know, and this is an advice that I give to people is it's like if you're everyone's financial situation is different, but like I've just increased the value on doing something you care about. Dramatically. I've increased the value on that. Like way like exponential multipliers on,
and you can afford to.
Yeah, but I just think even if you can't, like if you're getting by, if you're like surviving, then I don't know. It's just like I just think you know, if I just knew what I knew sort of like philosophically or spiritually like now, and I was like back to, you know, my studio apartment like making a little bit of money, it's just like, dude, like shoot for like almost shoot for lower goals in a way, you know, like shoot for lower number goals but more like passion goals. Yeah, I mean, I even think about it now, like dude, if I could just blow up everything that I'm doing and like have a new thing, like I think I'd be ready to do that. Like, just like literally just be like, fuck it.
Yeah, man, something that I've been thinking about is like when I was first trying to start making money online and I hadn't, like there was no expectations. I was just like, I'm going to figure this out. Like I'm going to try everything I can. And it's all really exciting. Now that I've done it, there is this level of expectations. There's a level of like wanting to do better because it's not fun to just do the same thing that you've been doing. So you want to like make it even more successful or exciting or whatever metric you're going for. So I think that there is something fun about just having a blank slate and just starting new on something.
Yeah, for sure. One other idea, like just since we're in the depths of the podcast now, so the juicy stuff starts coming out.
All right.
Is, yeah, I've been like playing with the idea. Like this is not something I'm doing now, but almost ties into like the private label mastermind idea is like, you know, some people I follow, like I'm in a couple of these things, like monthly masterminds, like online, like not even masterminds, but like monthly content, like almost like courses, but monthly delivery of new stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be really interesting to do. The reason I don't do it right now is because I don't think people would be willing to pay me for stuff that is not so directly like, you know, Amazon make money, you know. But I think like let's say like I had a giant audience and then I was just finding, wow, we're really going full circle again, like finding like that little fraction of the audience that cares about it.
Yeah.
If I had a giant audience and I could just pick out that fraction, I think what I might do right now is like a monthly content thing. Maybe it's like, you know, $50 a month, $100 a month or something, like maybe like 50 to 75 even.
Yeah.
Maybe 100. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but two different ideas. Like what I would really want is I think it would be cool to like say have monthly content around just like stuff that gives you an ROI, but it's harder to sell people on. It's not like here's a make money on Amazon course, but maybe it's like, you know, how to get more time, how to like, you know, biohack your sleep so that you have like a better life, you know, all these things that like give you ROI in other ways.
Right.
I think that's the stuff that like lights me up the most. I think what would like sell, what people would be more willing to is like, you know, what gives me the dollars in the bank account, very obviously.
Sorry.
No, I want your thoughts, but like
yeah.
Right now I basically have like two ideas. It's like one is like, oh, like maybe this could be like a little bit more related to like e-commerce, but still like other forms of making money and like tie in some of the other stuff I mentioned, or just go purely for the stuff that excites me. But I don't think, I just think if I put that out to my audience right now, like one person would join, right?
I mean, if you're giving people a way to be healthier, everyone wants to be healthier. I think it's just about the way that it's formulated and the way that it's delivered, and is it a community or a week or a monthly video that gets sent out? Like it's it's hard to figure out exactly what it'll be. And like, well, do people want like how to structure their time better? Are they happy with how they're structuring their time? Like, well, what about how to sleep better? Like, is it a monthly course, or is it more of a mastermind where everyone is putting in money and then that money gets sort of like spent on like a community and more than just content? So there's probably like a million ways to think about it. But I mean, dude, you're talking about health. Like, people are, you're not the only one that, like, everyone's interested in health. It's just a matter of like kind of thinking about Sam Harris, like kind of dangling the carrot in a way that gets people excited and wanting to do it. I think that's probably the main thing. But people will spend so much money on their health.
Right. I just don't think I have like the right audience for that. I think again, I have, 1%.
What about
go ahead.
doing something that just like, what if you try to do something that like I would join and that your friends would join, and like starting from there, like there's no reason you have to start finding people. I don't know.
Like charge my friends? What do you mean?
I mean, yeah, like I'm not like, think about, yeah, like if you really want to be doing something that you would love, just maybe even as a thought experiment, or you could just do it. Like, what kind of thing would you charge? Yeah, what would you charge me, or like Anthony, or like your friends, like monthly for, like, if it was like, like, because in the end, like if you want to build a community around health, like I don't think your ideal customer is somebody that's like living super unhealthy. Your ideal customer is probably somebody that's already like trying, or like already.
Yeah, but I also think about, say, like positioning it to entrepreneurs, like entrepreneurs that haven't even realized that this is where the biggest ROI is. Right. I think that's where my head is going lately, is like, how do I convince because I think there is a huge overlap between entrepreneurs and this stuff that I'm talking about. Like, some people have done it weirdly well. Like, I don't know if you've watched any like Alex Becker, or like he's into this stuff, and people are asking him like, what's that weird thing you're doing? And, or Sam Ovens, like he does a lot of this stuff, and, he has like a high level mastermind, and people were just asking him questions. Like there was this period of time where he was just obsessed with focus, like the concept of focus, and that was what was piquing people's interest more than any of the technical stuff. Like he'd had this, I think it's like 10,000 a session or something, like mastermind. And literally they're talking about like the stuff that we're talking about right now. Like, how do you focus? How do you like, structure your day? How do you like sleep more? Like, what do you eat? Like, what time do you have your smoothie? Like, all this shit they're asking this high level entrepreneur when they paid like for, high level quote stuff. And I don't know, like I just, that's the type of stuff that's more fun to me. I think I would enjoy that, but it's like, how do you, I just think such a small number of people in my audience give a shit about that right now. So either you have to create that demand or find those people.
Yeah. It's a balance, because you want to, like, whatever you're doing, there has to be some demand for it. But at the same time, I mean, like, think about the overlap of your current audience and your ideal audience in terms of like who you would ideally like to be serving. I think that it's probably possible to reach the right people. It's just a matter of like thinking about, well, what is your ideal? Like, I'll usually start thinking, what is my ideal customer before, like, as the first question, and then just trying to, if necessary, find them. Like, I don't know. I think a lot about these things in terms of like community and in terms of accountability. Like, I think that that's where the highest ROI for me is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. For sure. But I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about, is like, what are those next phases? And yeah, it ties in with YouTube too. If that could, just get to that next level, then, spin off other things.
Yeah. And these are seeds that that grow underneath the soil for a while before they sprout. Like, I think about, well, I was very, very, wanted to move to Los Angeles, and then it took me another year before actually getting up and doing it. I was very interested in moving to Austin. It took me another year before actually like it went from being like something that I'm considering to something that I'm considering more and more and that I'm actually doing. Even trying stand-up comedy, that percolated in my mind for 3 years, and then I did it. So I think it's very natural to have these things bubbling up in your mind, and whether that turns into a reality or not, it'll kind of just like happen when it happens. When you feel like it's almost irresistible to do, then you'll just kind of do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. End of thought.
Yeah. End of thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know either. But I don't know. And on that topic, but
yeah.
I feel like there's a few other things we might want to hit, but are you feeling like it's about the end, or do you want to hit a few topics here?
Let's see. I feel pretty satisfied. I just want to give a strong recommendation to the book I'm reading, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, because I think we all know that sleep is important, but there's a huge difference between knowing that sleep is important and then actually to understand the pathways of what is happening when you sleep, how it happens, how it changes as you age, how different substances affect your sleep. I'm only like a third of the way through the book now, but it's like what's surprising to me is that I usually don't read books this long. According to Kindle, it's like a 10-hour read, which sounds like a fucking lot of reading, but it's such a page turner. Like the way that it's written is not scientific at all. It's very conversational. It's like probably one of the most low effort books I've ever read. Like I know I'm going to get through it. So
yeah, I mean, I can definitely second that. I've been recommending that book for a while. It's excellent. It's like one of the few health books that I really like push people towards and highly suggest. I listened to it on Audible and it was the same. I was like, I literally like plowed through it.
yeah.
It's great. I mean, I'm probably ready to even revisit it because it's been a while, and it's like you get rusty on all that stuff, you know. Like I definitely can't remember the details already. I just remember the impression it left on me. But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously a huge sleep advocate. You're gonna be getting an Oura ring, which is gonna be life changing.
Yeah.
I guarantee. But yeah, sleep more.
Yeah. How about you? Any other thoughts on your mind?
I think that's about it. Just trying to figure things out, and you know, been planting seeds for a while, and it's cool to see like the car parts one be something now. You know, hopefully these other seeds sprout. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's about it. Maybe you can wrap up with like maybe some final, if there's anything else to say about like the LA Austin move, and just kind of like to put a close to the podcast chapter.
Yeah.
What are you excited most about?
Probably most about the mastermind next year.
What will you miss about LA?
Well, I miss you.
Set that one up.
Yeah, you threw the volleyball up perfectly for a spike. You, the beach, just being like, it's very close to a lot of things, such as like San Diego, Santa Barbara, Joshua Tree, San Francisco, Yosemite, like Vegas. Like there's a lot of things like that are within driving distance. What else? I don't know. It's cool having like, I say it's cool having a lot of these like cities nearby, like West Hollywood and like downtown LA and this and that, but I actually rarely even go.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of fun, but I'm not going to miss that as much. So I guess the beach is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Even the weather, like, I'll be fine. Like, it doesn't get that cold in Austin over the winter, and then I kind of like how it gets, like, in LA, it'll get, like, at the highs, it'll be hot sometimes, but it's usually not uncomfortably hot. But I even kind of like in Austin how it's gonna be, like, real, like, summer hot. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll miss you and the beach.
What are you, like, most excited to not have about LA? Like, if that's worded properly, but
just like the constant noise gets to me. There's just like, especially where I live, there's like homeless people everywhere, and I have nothing against homeless people. Like, like, I'm sure they want to have a home. Like, I have sympathy, but just like, there's a lot of people on drugs. There's a high overlap between that, and just like walking around, I don't feel safe. Even like where something interesting about the book also is that the sleep book is that when you're awake, you can consciously, your brain registers the safety of the area. And then when you're sleeping, if you're still in that environment, you sleep more lightly.
For sure.
And yeah. So like, I don't know. I just don't feel safe here. So I'm looking forward to getting rid of that. And just like, it's like a lot of it is like dirty, and like there's so much like people, and people talk about traffic, but there's also like metaphorical traffic in just like, there's like a high population density. So
I like that. Yeah. It's like, it's not just highway traffic, but there's just traffic. Like, there's just noise of walking, and like places are more crowded, and like I mean, it goes both ways. Like, I don't know, like we were in Napa recently, and it's like, you know, we found a coffee place to go up, and you just pull your car up right in front of it. It's like nice, and like, but there's also like it can also give me like a ghost town type of vibe sometimes too. Or like, this one was funny, is like, we went to park in this parking structure, and like, I was literally like reaching for my wallet to get out my credit card, and I was like, oh, it's free.
Insane.
Yeah.
I was working in Erewhon the other day, and like on my laptop, and I like randomly struck up conversation with this guy. He's like, oh, what are you working on? And we started talking, and I don't know how it came up, but he was like, yeah, man, like, LA kind of feels like I'm still in high school. Like, there's these people just like walking around, like acting cool, and people like comparing themselves to everyone. It's like, well, what are you wearing? And it's just like, it's hard to quite put your finger on it, because this comes out in 5,000 subtle body language and tone of voice ways. But I feel like it's just there's a lot of like insecurity in the air here, and I feel like I mean, I've never lived in Austin, so I can't speak for sure, but I have a feeling that it's just going to be a bit more chill. People might be a little bit more comfortable with where they are. It's cheaper, and it's actually easier to get by there, so people don't have to quite have the treadmill at such a high speed to just continue living.
Yeah. No, well put, for sure. That pretty much wraps up.
Cool.
One thing that popped in my head is that freaking Audacity problem. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to edit this podcast.
Oh, fuck.
How am I going to put our intro and outro, and because that's all saved in Audacity. So if anyone's still here at the end of the podcast, I updated to Mac OS Catalina, and the audio program Audacity, which is like really simple, straightforward, always easy to use, free, like, it broke with the update. So yeah, I guess I'll have to look into an alternative. Sure, but we might not be able to put our intro and outro on easily, though, because that's literally in like Audacity files, like project files. So I don't know.
Oh, but I think I updated also
to Catalina.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, it would be
Did they release a a tweet about it or something?
If you go to their site, there's like this little code snippet you can put into like terminal that's supposed to fix it.
Oh.
Or it said it fixes it for half the people.
Let's try that.
I did. Didn't work on mine or Jessica's. So on mine, the program will just not open entirely. So it said the problem was like after you would already have it open to do this and this and this. And I was like, well, I can't even fucking open it.
Right.
On Jessica's, we could open it, did the whole code snippet thing, still didn't work.
Fuck.
So yeah, I mean, I'll figure something out, but like we might just have to release this one as just like no intro outro, okay. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can get Audacity back soon, because like for my incompetent self, I just need that to work. Like, I don't want to like deal with something else.
Yeah. Well, I do have my laptop with me, so let's try downloading it and seeing if mine works.
We can try it. Yeah. All right. We'll try that. But anyways, I think that's about the end.
All right.
As always, anyone still listening, let us know.
All right. I'm trying to do the. All right. Well, we can't edit it out. Fuck.
What were you trying to do?
I was trying to like.
Just do it.
Sing the theme song.
Oh wait, how's the outro one go?
It's like alien sounds or whatever.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
out.
End of show.